In this video, we're going to record our first MIDI clip in Ableton Live. It's important that we firstly check our input and output routing. So if we open up the input-output section, by pressing the I/O button, we can see that the MIDI from tab is set to all ins. This is so that it can receive MIDI information from all active MIDI devices. We also have our monitor set to auto and our record armed for the track. We can now get rid of our input-output menu to save space and load an instrument into the MIDI track. Another important option that we have the power to do before recording is to set the recording quantization. If we go to the edit menu in the top left of the screen, we can see a drop-down menu for the record quantization, ranging from no quantization to 30-second note quantization, as well as triplets. The standard default setting to have this on for recording is 16th notes. What this means is all the MIDI notes I'm about to play will be snapped to the nearest 16th note on the grid. This is perfect for people that can't play the piano or keyboard, and it helps us with rectifying timing mistakes whilst playing notes in. We can also select triplet quantization, which is extremely useful for EDM, hip-hop and trap genres. If we forget to set the record quantization pre-recording, we can always quantize post-recording. All we've got to do is press Command-Shift and U once we've highlighted all the clips, and this will open up the quantization dialog box, or we can just press Command and U and it will quantize to the default setting without opening the dialog box. To record, we can press any of the record buttons in the track's clip slots. Notice how they turn from stop buttons to record buttons when the track's armed. When we click the record button, this starts the counting as set by the metronome, then recording is going to begin. We can now record some notes. This will carry on recording until we press stop or press launch on the clip that's recording. This will start playback, as we can see by the looping pie chart just above the mixer on the track. We can also now record another clip into another clip slot, or we can overdub our existing clip by hitting the session record button. This essentially adds extra MIDI data to the clip. If we click on the clip slot whilst we're overdubbing, then we can watch the notes being added to the clip in real time. We can also record a MIDI clip by selecting a blank scene and pressing the session record button. This means any armed tracks in that scene will begin recording. This is perfect for recording multiple performers or a band all performing at the same time using different MIDI instruments. Just remember to set the MIDI from to each individual instrument rather than having it set to receive all MIDI ins in the I/O section. If we go to Preferences, we can also select Start Recording on Scene Launch from the Record Warp Launch tab. This allows us to play a scene. This will play the clips in the scene, whilst recording any tracks in the scene that are armed. A really useful feature in Live is the default presets. This is for things like audio clips as well as tracks. We can set tracks up so that they load with MIDI or audio devices already preloaded onto them. Further to this, we can also set the devices up so they've already got default settings on them as their default preset. For example, I constantly find myself using Spectrum and EQ8, as well as the utility device on a track. So if I put these plugins onto a track, I can then right-click and now select from the drop-down to save these as a default preset. Now I can delete the track and load a new one. As you can see, the new track defaults with the devices already on it. Many producers also set the mixer to -6 or -12 decibels, then set that to the default preset as well. Notice that you can set your MIDI tracks as completely different default presets to your audio tracks. With the devices, we can also set default settings in the same way. For example, if you go to the EQ8, I always use a high-pass filter around 30 to 35 Hz. So we can set this up, as well as a few bell curves at useful frequencies, such as the kick's fundamental frequency and the pressure point. We can also add a low and a high shelf, as well as a high-pass filter around 18 kHz to remove any high-end aliasing frequencies. Now with this set exactly how we want it, all I have to do is right-click the device title bar and we can save that as a default preset. Now whenever we load an EQ8, we don't have to mess around with any settings and the device is ready for us to dial in any of our adjustments straight away.